Hi guys! Today I thought it might be fun to react to the unpopular opinions on the subreddit r/unpopularkpopopinions. I've been a member of this sub for a couple of years, and in that time I've seen some pretty interesting posts, some stupid ones, and definitely a lot of controversial ones. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description to skip to each opinion, and of course comment whether you agree or disagree with both the opinion and my take on it. Let's see if the opinions on this sub live up to its name. And without further ado, the first opinion is Blackpink are popular because they don't seem like idols. This poster says, I'm not even a Blink, but even I can admit that the Blackpink girls stand out among other girl groups in a way I couldn't really put my finger on at first. It couldn't be the girl crush concept, because so many girl groups do it. But yeah, I low-key realized over time that it was because Blackpink give off a really Western/non-idol vibe on top of their girl crush image. OP also says that Blackpink members have a quote-unquote Western vibe on their Instagrams because they don't use the Snow app and post more fierce pictures than cute ones, and other groups. A lot of people say Blackpink attracts fans because of their concept, but I just don't think that's true. There are so many groups with a girl crush concept, and even Blackpink themselves were called a copy of other groups, specifically 21 when they debuted. The difference in popularity between Blackpink and other groups with a similar concept really comes down to the marketing, and that includes their image, like OP had said. I think Blackpink having more solo activities than group ones, also a lot of Blink saw one of the girls' solo releases before they started standing Blackpink as a full group. That being said, this whole discussion about Blackpink not seeming like idols only really applies internationally, where not seeming like an idol thing is desirable. A good contrast to Blackpink is aespa. I know I talk about aespa a lot on this channel, but they are just a really good example for a lot of the stuff I talk about. aespa gained Korean popularity fairly quickly, but they're marketed in a very different way. aespa are very solidly a group. They don't promote individually. Both aespa and Blackpink have a lot of similarities. They have 4 members. They have fiercer concepts. Like, I was gonna say girl crush, but I don't know if you can really call aespa's concept girl crush. And they both have massively popular songs. But I think Blackpink has and will continue to have a hold on the number of members or even the music. So it's more about, their marketing and their image. And I guess OP is right then. Okay, this one makes me laugh. JYP is hot. This poster says, I know beauty is subjective. I just personally think he's super good looking. He checks all the boxes in my type. Okay, they go on about this for a while, but I am going to stop reading that there because I think we have heard enough. Having good manners, having a JYP haircut, maybe his jawline is snatched. I don't know, but this is an unpopular opinion subreddit, not a wrong opinion subreddit, and I am going to leave that there. Next opinion. More and more is better than fancy and feel special. This poster says, I was quite shocked to see that people aren't liking More and More as much. It's not classic Twice. Likey and What Is Love remain superior, but I thought it was much better than both Fancy and Feel Special, both of which I found underwhelming. OP really stood there and called both Fancy and Feel Special underwhelming, and thought they really did something. More and More is not that bad, but it lacks the iconicness that Fancy and Feel Special have. Fancy and Feel Special were both something that Twice hadn't tried before at the time, while More and More was just plain in comparison, and almost feels like a rehash of concepts they've done before. The poster mentioned quote-unquote classic Twice, and I think that's the important word here. Fancy was a departure from Twice's old style, and that's why it had more of an impact. Haha, more of an impact. See what I did there? Anyways, more and more felt kind of like a regression because it was going back to that old twice. Even in terms of album quality, Fancy and Feel Special are way better than More and More. The only songs from More and More that are good for me are Oxygen and Shadow. I do not like Firework or... Bro, I can't even remember the rest of the songs on that album because, like I said, I didn't like it. But the entire albums of Fancy and Feel Special, by contrast, are good in my opinion. I mean, Hot, Girls Like Us, Get Loud. I mean, there are just so many better songs. And the music video for More and More isn't that much worse than Fancy's. They both have that odd, like, CGI thing going on. But you would be stupid to say it's better than the Feel Special music video. I guess this poster really wanted to make sure their opinion was unpopular, because I cannot see anyone agreeing with this. But if that is you, feel free to explain yourself in the comments. I like when idols are seen as a product. This poster says, I see idols as a packaged product. Of course, they are people, but what they do is never their choice and is always carefully planned. And the lack of spontaneity doesn't bother me, as I know it would mostly be forced anyway. The idea of knowing that an idol or a whole group's behavior is planned is a reassurance for high-quality output to me. I think that I've actually said something along the lines of this opinion on my channel before, don't remember when, but I said something kind of like that. And while I know this seems like a stupid opinion at first, I actually agree with it. I don't think that any individual idol can entirely be a product, because if that was true, then no idol would ever get into any scandals. Scandals is what happens when a company loses control of their idol. Or worse, the company themselves messed up somehow, like if they plagiarized or something. And of course, scandals project badly on the group. Whenever that happens, I feel like the group's image, or rather the product that OP is referencing, that gets messed up, and that's the opposite of what companies want. But it's entirely up to each person how they view idols, and it's perfectly fair if you do view idols in the way that OP is saying. I kind of like hearing about K-pop rumors and scandals, and I end up focusing a lot on what's wrong with K-pop rather than what is so perfect. I know it makes me sound like too negative, but it does, it's just a different point of view. But I do understand the appeal of just focusing on the most polished aspects. A lot of times, standing idols feels like you're paying for a product in a way, because even if you don't spend actual money, trust me, a lot of people do spend actual money, but like the casual fan, you're still spending time streaming and voting and stuff like that. Even every time you watch a music video, you're technically giving the company money. That doesn't mean what you're getting for that time and money isn't good. In fact, the fact that you dedicate a lot of time to it can make it better. But that exchange is still there. I also agree that the whole product aspect can be seen as a reassurance for high-quality output. I like that a lot of people are involved in making most K-pop stuff, because I know that some of the best producers, directors, stylists, hell, like even the makeup artists, they're working their hardest on the idols, and that just means the end product will be that much better. K-pop was never about the struggling artist who lives in their basement and makes songs in their free time, and then suddenly they hit it big. For the most part, everyone involved, and there's a lot of people involved, in the making of K-pop stuff has that as their full-time job. It's a well-oiled machine, and I like it that way. I'm actually quite glad that OP posted their opinion, because I've agreed for a while, but I haven't seen many people say this online before. If you're not in it for the music, K-pop is just a phase. This poster says, your crazy love for their pretty faces and adorable personalities will eventually wear off, and you'll low-key drop your faves. Not quickly, but slowly and quietly. You were in it for the music? Great for you. A lot of songs will remain in your playlist for years and years, and they will always remind you of how much a group meant to you, and that's how K-pop will stay important to you. I saw this and right away I thought, wow, this is such a stupid take. I do think that K-pop is more likely to be a phase than not, but it's like OP thinks that you can't have phases in your music taste, just like you do with everything else. I know for myself at least that the kind of music I liked a couple of years ago is different from the kind of music I like now, and it's not just that I am standing different artists. The actual style and genre of the music changed, and that just goes to show how someone's taste in music can change over time. Take, for example, Apink. They saw, the general trends in the K-pop landscape were changing, and so they went from a cute concept to a more elegant concept, and their fans also matured along with them so that they could retain their fans and gain new ones. Newsflash, music has trends. The K-pop music that we have today isn't the same as K-pop music 10 years ago. I don't think liking only the music or mainly the music precludes K-pop from being a phase. Instead, I think K-pop is going to be a phase for everyone because it's just not something that I can see the majority of adults committing a lot of time to. I say this, I'm not an adult, I'm a teenager, but I don't know if I'll have time or money or anything to be standing K-pop in 10 years. The content that companies make is always targeted towards young people, what with lyrics about school and especially lyrics about young love. And while idols are usually cute, it isn't really relatable for a lot of older people to be watching a bunch of teenagers, do whatever they're doing. You aren't better than someone else if you've liked K-pop for longer, or if you only like K-pop for the music. People that go on about how only liking the music or mainly liking the music is better or more serious than liking K-pop for other reasons. Those people are just so silly. Just leave the rest of us to enjoy what parts of K-pop that we want to enjoy. With that being said, that is the end of this video. Let me know whether you agree or disagree with each of the opinions, or if you agree or disagree with what I thought. There are a lot of opinions on this sub that I saw that were pretty interesting, but I didn't have room to include them, so please let me know if you want a part 2. Bye guys, and I'll see you in the next one.